think the CPU frequency is scaling down because the temperature's too
Oh
high.
no. Oh
That's
no.
what it is. I need more ice packs on it.
Time for the new fan. Didn't you buy a fan?
I did. I just went to
Oh
check if it was
no.
running. It's running at full power. It's still not enough.
Oh Jesus. Oh my
Maybe
gosh.
I
That
need
sounds
two.
awful.
Two fans.
Perhaps. Yeah, perhaps. Speaking of fans, I'm gonna plug mine in just in case. Like, you never know.
Yeah, it's the external monitor that does it.
That's what I'm thinking too. I'm like, I'm not gonna risk it. I'm gonna just plug my little fan up real quick and put
Uh,
myself on mute.
okay, I got the. Let's have a look. I got the second link. No, the second link's the same as the first link.
Dang it. I thought it was like, oh no, I sent the same thing twice.
Yeah.
But long story short, that's the actual workflow file for that particular action. So that's what you can see those individual jobs make up that action. So
Yeah.
that's what it's doing.
I'm just having a
Yeah.
look at so it looks like it runs when you push to the master and when you push to next and when you push to anything dash release. And first it runs, so release needs test, so it'll run the test first. Check it out, test it, runs, it's all good. Check it out. Check if it's a Node.js project and has a package JSON. Yep. If it does, then install the dependencies and then run release, npm run release.
So in theory, if I'm them, is that the right way to do that?
Um, it looks as though release if node project. It looks as though
Yeah.
it will run on every single push to master,
Mm-hmm.
and then I don't know. Does it fail if there's already an existing? Let's have a look. What happens when it runs here?
What
Publish,
happens when it runs, and that's where you go to,
release.
and
What does this do?
you should see it.
Semantic release. Da, 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 da. Semantic release. There are no relevant changes, so no new version is released. Okay.
Yeah, pretty cool. So they're using,
Analyzing
yeah, semantic
commits.
release. Mhm.
Hmm. Okay, I see. So, okay, that's the source of my confusion. npm run
And yeah,
release. It's the release task in the package JSON that has the magic in it.
um, I don't know.
Ding ding.
Let's see what we got going on here.
So, script
Very cool.
release. Okay, it runs semantic
Uh-huh.
release.
Runs the semantic release, yep.
Okay, so it relies on this. npm JS. So yeah, maybe I just switch over to using semantic release because I'm using this GitHub action at the moment, and
Oh wow,
it
really?
actually doesn't
Heck
work.
yeah. Well, hey, that if that makes your life easier, I call that a win. That's cool. Very
Yes.
awesome. Happy to see that I could be of some assistance. Yeah, I think it's
Oh,
really neat, honestly.
okay. This is pretty intense. This you need to use
Is it?
committers in. Yeah.
Oh, you
So
can, but you don't have to, it says. It uses Angular commit message convention.
yeah,
You can use those tools, but you don't have to.
yeah. But the thing is that you don't have to use them.
But
But if you don't, you basically see the way this works is
it has to say a specific thing, otherwise it won't work.
exactly your commit message have to be like specifically you have to speak the right language for the
Hmm.
like if you push something and say that it's a fix, then it will be like okay, I'm gonna do a release, a patch release. If you say, hey, this is a new
Okay.
feature, it'll do a feature release for that feature.
Hmm.
And it looks like it'll just okay, releases are guaranteed to be unromantic and unsentimental.
I love it. What does that mean, though?
Yeah, okay. So I think what this means is that every time you merge a pull request into the main branch, it'll trigger a release if it's it'll trigger a release, yeah, if it's a fix or a feature. Breaking change.
Interesting.
So
Yeah, I like
it'll
that though.
just automatically do a release.
Is that bad?
Um, is that bad? I don't think so. I mean, at the moment, I kind of like bundle things up and like release a bunch of things at once.
Right.
This would
So
make it that every time you do a oh, actually, you could put multiple things into a PR.
you
Yeah,
could
but
do,
that's
yeah.
not very good
You could do.
because that will break this other one. Like if I did both of these
Yeah.
together, the release drafter. Release drafter means that every PR has to have only one thing in it, which is what you should be doing.
Exactly.
And then you got to label your PRs and give them proper names. Oh,
Right, right, right.
automation. And then the
I
semantic
know, right?
release.
Hmm.
Yeah, then I'd have to stick
Hmm.
committers in on because if you rely on the automated releases to happen, then all your commit messages have to be exactly right.
Right. That makes sense. Okay, okay.
I
So if
mean
you had to
the
pick between the two of them, which would you pick?
both.
Even better. Good choice. Solid.
Yeah.
Do both.
I mean, let's have a look at this is one thing about committing to ZB, which is like a real hassle for me, is
Right.
um ZBIO. ZB is that it enforces those
Winter
special,
rules, yeah.
yeah, like commit message rules. So you can see here you got like build, dist, chore, project, CI, GitHub, fix, benchmark, like that.
Mm-hmm.
But because it doesn't have something like committers in, you don't find out that your your commit message is wrong until it goes into the CI.
Right, right, right.
After you push it to the remote and the CI runs, it
Yep,
says, "Oh, it's bad."
exactly. So isn't there something you could bake in that says, hey, that's wrong. You should probably fix it before you do this?
Yes, that's what committers in does. It pushes it as far forward as
Oh,
possible, like right onto
smart.
your machine.
Nice.
Um, but if we have a look at releases for this, here we go, releases. Mm-mm-mm. Hello, hello.
Azure computers just like hear about what if we don't?
Yeah, look at that CPU. It's pegging out super high.
Oh, jeez. I don't
Crazy,
even know
hey?
what mine's at. I have no idea. I should probably look. Actually, now I'm curious.
It's not actually the CPU. It's like it's doing it because it thinks it's overheating, so it's like pretending that the
Really? Oh
CPU is
no.
busy. Oh,
Oh no.
this will cool it down. Yeah.
Yikes! Yikes!
Wow, look at this.
Wow. How nice.
These are quite these are
I
quite
love it.
extensive.
Those are quite detailed. Nice. Now that's a release note.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That is. Good job, ZB team. Good job.
Yes, killing it.
I'm proud.
And then
Crushing it. Look at that.
I think these ones might
Very
be
nice.
generated automatically.
I think so, yeah.
Wow, very good. Okay,
Very cool.
I need to
Very
get
cool.
release notes like this because my release notes are weak.
Up
Look,
in the release note.
oh,
Yeah, that's yeah.
terrible.
The GitHub Notes version, the
What is
one that you
this?
grab when you're desperate.
Yeah,
You show me
no,
stuff.
no,
I
this is
love
not
it.
good. No,
No, no, it's not.
I need this release drafter, and I need the
I
semantic
know, right?
release, and I need the committers, and I need all the things,
All the things.
all of them.
I love it. I love it. That's great.
And then that means
That's
that I need to
amazing.
change my processes that I use, like when I write
Oh
release, when
wow.
I write the commit messages, and then when I create a PR and when I tag them like that.
Right. So I have a question then. In that case, follow up. Say I'm a maintainer in the community hub and I want to do the same thing. And I want to do this if we can do it with a Probot or whatever.
Yep.
other than just sheer ease, quality of life, what else would inspire you to make these changes? Just in terms of just not having automation, not having to do the manual stuff. What's a way that
Um,
people would encourage people to actually want this?
I think
Why would you?
it's like the other thing that you showed me, which is pulls and
Yeah.
changes from master into your branch as you're working on it.
Uh huh.
Because
Yeah.
otherwise, you do all this work, you get to the end, and then it's like, what did I even do? You know, now I got to write the
Yeah.
documentation
Exactly.
for it, and you're like,
Yeah, and that's
you
a whole
can't be
other kettle of
bothered. You've
fish.
forgotten what you did. You're like, oh, whatever,
Yeah.
and then you just like push it out and send it out to people,
Yeah.
and
Exactly.
and then the users are like, should I
Like
install this? What is in it? What are the implications? Or even if they're
exactly.
evaluating whether they want to use it, they look at it and they go, I can't understand this thing.
Yeah.
Whereas
It's
if you
for
do,
sure.
if you put these things in, the release drafter and the um, semantic release stuff, what happens then is you move the documentation from like the single monolithic massive thing that you do right at the end into these micro tasks that you bake into your ongoing process.
Exactly, and that way you can write better docs.
Exactly.
Too.
Yeah, it's the difference between doing 500 push-ups once a month and doing, I don't know, 10 push-ups a day, 15 push-ups a day.
Yeah, exactly. Amara asked in chat, "Do you stream on the same machine you develop on?" Answer would be yes, probably, right?
Yeah, yeah, I do. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, that might cool things down a bit if I streamed from a different machine.
it might. Yeah,
I don't know how you do that or how complicated that would be.
me either. Not a clue.
Yeah. I've seen people
Not a
asking about
single
like
clue.
headless streaming machines and
Yeah, I've seen that too, and I'm just like, hmm. It's like I could theoretically do it if it was just very low level stuff. Like, 'cause I have two computers, I could absolutely do it. I have my like personal computer that's really beefy. Actually, it's actually like stronger than my Camunda computer. It was designed for video editing, so it's got like 32 gigs of RAM that I'm never going to use, etc. So,
Epic.
yeah, it's a beast. I don't really know what to do with it. I feel kind of sad that I never get to actually like push its limits. It doesn't really do what it should be doing. It just kind of sits and occasionally checks some email.
This is what I need to do. Water cooling for a laptop.
Oh yeah, for sure. God, yeah. I love it. That's awesome.
I remember back in the day on Slashdot, there was someone who had put his motherboard inside an oil bath,
What?
and then the oil bath was like went through like a refrigeration unit. So it was kind of like, you know how you have water coolers, but then you got to make sure that the water doesn't leak into the computer. He actually stuck his
Yeah.
computer inside oil, like a clear oil that you could see through.
Oh wow. That's wow.
Yeah, oil bath cooler for a
That's a
laptop.
lot.
Okay, probably can't get that these days. There we go. Forget liquid cooling. Give your PC an oil bath.
That is wild. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, man. Something like this. Deep fried PC cooling. Stick it inside
That's
that.
actually, is that like a gel candle? That is, isn't it?
Yes, exactly.
In an oil, and you just, yeah, that's like making gel candles. And if you go too high with your fragrance oil, your fragrance will separate and you'll be left with oil and water because they don't mix.
Ooh.
So you have to have oils that are at a specific flash point, like 170 and below, and that's probably what's happening there too. I bet
OMG.
is that
So
you
you
have to keep it at a certain point.
so what you're saying is you could put a fragrance into the oil and then as the computer heats up, it gives off
Yes.
a beautiful
Oh no.
frangipani
Potentially
scent.
yes.
Sandalwood.
Potentially yes. But also maybe not because electricity plus fragrance oils equals flames. So I'm not responsible for that.
What could
Nope.
possibly
Did
go
not.
wrong?
What could possibly go wrong? Yeah, no. Spoiler alert. They're like, actually, you know what? No, because no, because if you like candles, it would. It's not at a high enough concentration that I think it would explode.
Okay.
So I would. I'm going to hesitate and say maybe. I'm going to say possibly yes. Possibly some lychee guava scented computer. Who knows?
Yes.
I would test that. That would be fun. Like, can you make a scented computer?
Scented computer. And then you just like have an aquarium, you fill it up with this oil, you put the
Oh
scent
my
in it,
gosh.
and then you just drop the
Oh
laptop into
wow.
it.
You know what? I honestly am sorely tempted to try it. I'm not gonna lie. I think that's great, and I think that would be a strange amalgamation of all of my interests.
Yes. Cryogenic cooling.
I love it. I'm actually gonna look that up. Oil-based computer cooling.
Yeah, look, people are still doing it. They did it back in the day.
Largest custom PC mineral oil
You can put
submerged
lights in it, stick a bunch of
full PC
fans on it,
cooling.
heat exchanger. Yeah, I'm all
Mineral
about
oil
it.
submerged computers. It's mineral oil. Fish
Yeah.
tank oil system. What? Immersion cooling. All right, hang on. This is yeah.
Okay, so
Okay,
it's a mineral
okay.
oil cooler. I guess the thing, the
Yeah,
next question is, can you do it with a Raspberry Pi cluster?
potentially. That would be the lowest like cost thing that you could do with this.
Yes, you can.
Isn't that cute? How fun. What a delight. Does
Liquid
mineral
cooling.
oil conduct fragrance? Who knows? Maybe.
Here are people doing their Raspberry Pis, overclocking them, but what about the cluster? Water cooled clusters. This one looks pretty cool. You have like a CPU screen on the front, little LCD. Single liquid
Yeah,
cooled.
that is neat.
Yeah, I would do that if I was going to stream. How we got onto this topic? Do you stream from the same machine that you do your development on?
Yeah.
If I was going to stream from another machine, it would be a headless Raspberry Pi cluster submerged in a mineral oil bath with fragrances.
Yeah.
That's how I'd
I'm
do
gonna
it.
actually Google.
3,000 core Raspberry Pi cluster. Anyone?
Yeah.
A
Guess
digression.
what? It can be used in fire breathing as it's relatively low heat, combustible, with no flavor or odor. And you
Mineral
can
oil
use it.
can.
You can use it. You can use it. You can do it.
Okay. This is
Not
mineral.
technically a flammable liquid.
Flash point of 170 degrees. Okay.
I mean, I'm not responsible for what happens if your fragrance oil like destroys your plastic of your. Spoiler alert, though, fragrance oil eats plastic. So ask
Oh,
me how I
really?
know. It does. So you
Ha-
probably shouldn't. You're just gonna point it right out. You probably shouldn't if your wires are plastic, because fragrance oil will eat right through it if it's it comes in direct contact. But if it's suspended in the oil, I wonder if it would have a low enough parts per million that it would not eat your wires.
yeah, okay. What happens if I put my
Debatable.
MacBook Pro inside mineral oil?
Not responsible for that either.
MacBook Pro versus cooking oil?
Yeah, no. Yeah, no. No, 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 no. Oh my gosh. That would be bad. That would be very bad, actually. That would
Yeah.
be a bad idea.
Okay, so the semantic release is good. The release drafter is good. The submersion in
Mm-hmm.
mineral oil is a maybe.
Is maybe potentially happening, but not likely. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do both. I'm gonna
Heck
do
yeah.
all of them.
Heck yeah.
But then I'll need to I guess document the process of like now it'll
I
change.
would think so.
I actually have in here also as well as changelog, I have develop.md.
Oh, nice. Okay, okay. That's
So
exciting.
it should go in here.
Yeah.
Development conventions. So yeah, I'll document it in here. Okay, I'm gonna do some work on this today. Yeah, because there's an upcoming change in 1.1 for Camunda Cloud with
Mm-hmm.
how the clients interact with the clusters.
Right. Right.
I don't know if you saw anything about that. It's because there's like a limit on the number of DNS entries we can have, like
Oh,
3,500,
geez.
and now it's become so
Okay.
popular. that it's like that's actually become like a limiting factor. So we can only have DNS resolution for 3,500 clusters in Camunda Cloud.
Oh gosh. Okay.
And I mean, we're not hitting it just yet, but it's like we're like, hey, we're going to hit this limit. So um, instead of having a unique DNS address for each of the clusters, we're going to use some
Mhm.
metadata header in the request to route the requests.
I see. Okay. Okay.
So that's going to
That makes
require
sense.
a new release of the Node client. Otherwise, I was kind of like, Node client, we're done for now. We're going to leave it for a while, but no, we're going to have to do another release. So that's going to be the
Mm,
opportunity to test out the stuff.
right. Right.
This is awesome. Thanks for showing me
Yeah.
this.
Happy to help. Glad that it was useful for sure. Glad that it was useful.
And then in
Makes me
terms of
happy.
like other people in the community using it, because I think it would be a good idea. I
Mm.
mean, do you want your release notes, to look like this or to look like this?
I definitely want it to look like the other version.
Yeah, of course you want to pimp your release notes, right? But
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's like, do you want to have to do heaps of work to do it, or do you want to do
That is
like
true.
Russ Hanneman said, just a whole lot of work at one time
Yeah.
to
That's a
get it
good point.
to get it set up, and then just a little bit change the way you do your commit messages, and then next minute you have the
Yeah.
release notes. Yeah, I'm
That
gonna
is
do it.
true.
Well, we
That's
didn't really
true.
do anything on the Probot.
No, but we did a lot of other fun things, which are helpful. We did some stuff on the Probot, and then we figured out that we can actually use these internally, which I think would be considered a win. So I
100%.
would consider that an absolute win, personally. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I'm a fan. Next week we can come back to this and see if we can actually put it in Probot or figure out how to do that and figure out why and figure out just keep going forward. Other than that, for the Probot itself, I think that we've confirmed that the triage label works, so that's good.
Yes.
Um, Other than that, the actual command itself, we've confirmed that works. It's running on Camunda Cloud. That's good. So all in all things considered, let me see what's next that we can tackle for this that we should actually be
Well, you know what? Like,
doing. Hmm.
since the release notes rely on tagging PRs,
Right.
release drafter, um,
Yeah.
we could set up something in the Probot so that when you create a PR, it checks to see if it has a label on it.
That's a good idea.
And if it doesn't have a label, um, it does something.
Yeah. If it doesn't have a label, it automatically applies the triage label, remember?
It does. That's for issues, not for PRs. See, with
Oh,
release
for
drafter,
PRs. Let me see what we got going on here.
because at the moment, as you merge your pull request into master,
Mm-hmm.
it'll draft the release note. But what happens if I create a PR and I forget to label it and then I merge it into master?
Mm,
Now it's missed my automation. How do I now? So what I would want to do is I would want to disallow the merge if it
exactly.
if it doesn't have
Yeah.
this label on it.
Yep. Yep. That would do it. That would do it.
One way to do that would be that if there's a pull request that has no label that gets opened, the Probot labels it with like "do not merge."
Yeah, there's actually a do not merge thing in Probot already. We already have it out on Community Hub. There's do
Okay.
not merge already at the level. Let me check here at locations.
Or maybe unlabeled would be better.
Yeah, there's already I've already have a do not merge on there. The organization level.
Can I have
Um,
rules on merging um, PRs GitHub?
we have the WIP bot that doesn't merge things if they're WIP.
Oh, is that a
Mm-hmm.
label?
It is WIP is a label.
Okay.
Allow authors of pull request to set status depending if they're still working on it. By default, it's a setting a pull request depending. Work in progress. WIP allows for
Where is that
some.
setting?
That's it. That is under installed GitHub apps. It's a GitHub app that allows people to set the status of a thing to pending.
Is that documented somewhere?
That should be. Yeah.
Or do you have like a link to the
I do. I do.
so I can look at that one?
This is installed on. That's the actual installations. If you can see that, but the actual WIP thing is out. You can configure it. It's basically, yeah, it's a pull request status that sets the pending. If it finds something in the pull request title, if it says WIP, work in progress, etc. So,
Okay.
and there
So
should be in the slash community repo, it should say if your
this
pull
one.
request is WIP, it won't be merged. Yep. If your pull request is considered a work in progress, adding that prefixing your PR title prevents the PR from being merged until the slash hold command is lifted. Yep, that's what it does. And that is documented on the pull request process in the community tab. Because past me looked out for present me.
Okay, so I see. Meant to be a reference implementation to help other integrators. Great. Okay, so what it does is it blocks the merging by having a failing check.
Exactly.
Okay,
yeah.
so we would just have our Probot do a failing check on a PR if it doesn't have a label.
Yep. Do a failed check and then just be like, no, you can't do that. Do not merge as a service. Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Terms do not merge if it's blank. Yep. There we go. Which is pretty cool. You can configure it for different locations, etc., which is neat.
Okay, so in that case, this one looks like we can configure it. It can look for label names, and it can look for a term. So yeah, we would just have
even better. Cool. So we can use the thing we already have.
Yeah, awesome. Probot would just automatically label any pull request as work in progress.
Oh, cool.
It's not quite the same though.
No, not
because
quite.
I can still remove the work in progress label, but not have added any label to it.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of the inverse of this. It's like if it's missing all of the labels that are required. So okay, so yeah, we have to write a different behavior for Probot, which is kind of similar to this, but it's like the inverse.
I see.
Yeah, we should do that next time.
Yeah, we should. That's the plan. All right, I'm gonna write that down. So, reverse engineer WIP bot.
Yeah, and then so what we'd do is we'd add release drafter, and then our WIP bot would do the inverse of this. It would, if you don't have any of the labels that are mentioned in here, if you have none of these labels on your pull request, you can't merge it. Because if you do merge it, it's not going to be able to go into the automated release notes, and that just doesn't work. It has to be something.
Exactly. I agree. Beautiful. I love it. Good plan. That is for next week.
Awesome.
We'll
okay.
At the same time.
Yes, I'll get mine working this week, and then next week
awesome.
We can get the Probot.
All right. I'll update our Trello card, and that is good times.
Epic and legendary.
See you next week.
See you then.
Awesome. Good deal. Have a good one. Bye.